Here it is, the down and dirty 2010 Sierra 1500. This is a WT with a 4.8 liter. Had a leak in the air conditioner condenser core. So I'll try to include some stills or the video at the end of this will show you what we had done up to pulling the grill, but I'll get to that in a minute. So underneath here, you take this part here off, right? This part here, and you got that bracket right here that goes between the frame that supports basically the grill, and it goes to the radiator support. So there's welds on three sides. So we took a die cutter and we cut the tabs off that piece. But before we did that, we drilled two pilot holes, 1/4 inch, and then I decided to go with 8mm screws, so I used 8mm nut rivets. So we then drilled the holes all open to 5/16. Now, in doing this, we stuck a block of wood on top of the radiator just in case we punched through too hard. So, okay, so you got that bracket here. You'll see at the end, I'll include that clip. So, drill up to 5/16 all the way through, just about to the radiator, you know. And then what we did is die grind the tabs. There's little tabs they welded to this radiator support, cut those off, and basically then unbolt the two bolts here to the grill frame, and that piece will lift right out. Now you have two 5/16 holes here. Drill those out to a 7/16 and use 8mm nut rivets in those two holes, and you can bolt that plate back on. That makes it so much easier in getting that coil out. You don't have to lean the whole, take out bottom screws or nothing. So we got that part right apart. Then we had to take the grill apart and the headlight over here. So obviously to do the headlight on this truck, you got to take off that white on this truck bumper surround, which is a bolt over there, and pretty much it peels right off. Look in your book. The grill has tabs, locking tabs along the bottom, which you can release it. So take out the appropriate bolts for the grill. I think there's like 4 or 6 of them. Then you can lean the grill forward a little, but also remove this headlight, because you have to get to the upper and lower condenser coil hose connectors. Now obviously if you got Freon in it, you need to recover it with a recovery machine, but if you got a hole in it, you don't have any in there anyway. So problem we ran into where the bolts were so corroded, it didn't want to let those flanges go. So we had to heat it up cherry and basically wiggle the lines until the corrosion let go and it came apart. Try not to ruin the washers in there. They're hard to find. The ones that seal the flange to the condenser coil. So once you got those apart, you got 2 bolts on the top of the condenser coil and it lifts right out. With that bracket gone, you don't have to monkey around or anything. We pull the grill out because we wanted to be able to peel away that stuff there and that stuff there, but just enough forward so we can work on it. You don't have to remove it. But the headlight, take that out, and that's basically it. Reverse process. Now the coil we bought had 2 little square pegs on the square stops on the bottom of the coil. We cut the lower rubber tray bushings for the coil and slotted them to accept that, so they're still sitting in the rubber. The bushing that came in the coil was too thick, so you pop the metal piece out, pop the bushing out, and do the same with the old coil. Use the old bushings. The old bushings are thinner. So at the same time, I recommend you change your power steering coil because his was leaking. The power steering cooler. The oil cooler was fine, nice and dry. So we just used the old hoses on the power steering cooler. So replace the cooler, replace the condenser coil, and then I vacuumed it down for about 10 minutes and turned everything off to see if the gauges, if there was a leak. No leak. So I vacuumed it for 2+ hours. To be honest with you, I left it on for 4. And then backfilled it on this car, 25.6 ounces. 2 cans is 24, and you need approximately 1 ounce more from another can, so 25. Even at 24 it was getting real cold. Just pretty much kind of eyeball 1 ounce, or you can get a dye can of 5 ounces. So, but then that's too much still. Anyway, 25.06. Check your manual. Check the specs for your year. But it's simple. That top plate is the pain in the butt. Die grind it, nut rivet, boom. Take the headlight out so you can get to that lower mount. Boom. A little bit of heat on there. Remember, protect all your plastic with a piece of metal. And that was it. It came right out. So I've charged it up and she's good to go. She's blowing at 42 degrees. Good luck with your truck. Alright, continuation of the project on the 2010 GMC SIERRA. So that was corroded on, so we had to heat it up here with a metal shield here, and then pound on this here once it got cherry, while prying against the radiator with a tool with a piece of wrap the hell out of electrical tape. And basically by prying this way it came apart. But we had to heat that up cherry right in here to get that corrosion off, because that corrosion wouldn't let it go and we couldn't get that nut out, which is a Torx. Okay, we're continuing this. Actually my son is. So we've got that bracket out. Now to get to those lines there, they tell you to release the whole grill bracket mount and 2 bolts on each side way down there, but we're going to try not to. We just have to get to this and the one down below, and if that we can't get it out, then we'll have to take those 2 bolts down there at the bottom, and there's 2 more on the other side, and that'll release the grill bracket. But the headlight, as you all are aware, you got to pull that bumper cover off to get the bolt right in here. So we're preferred not going to pull that headlight out unless we have to, because you got to pull the bumper cover off, which isn't a big deal. So we're going to try to do it with just, we took that top plate by cutting the welds, and we pretty much can see everything. We're also going to change the transmission cooler, which is recommended because they rust out.